I'm Kira, and today we're going to talk about veggie gardens, which is my favorite topic and Molly's least favorite topic, which is why she's not here today. Mostly it's because she's working, but also she does not like to talk about this. I'm pretty sure it's her least favorite time of year when I break out the seedlings. Obviously, I have been really into plants for a very long time. Plants are my obsession, but last year I learned all these cool tips and tricks about growing an indoor veggie garden. If you want a very thorough how-to, I would highly check out Plantarina. She has some really good videos on that. But last year I grew from tiny little seeds these amazing vegetables. They weren't edible. They were more for the excitement of something that grows really fast. What I found is that regular houseplants, they grow kind of fast in the growing months, don't grow in the winter months, but vegetables are crazy. Some of the plants that I planted, my cucumbers went wild. My tomatoes were so overgrown that I actually ended up giving a bunch of seedlings away because I couldn't even keep them all. Today, we're gonna do two things. One, we're gonna check in on some of my food waste upcycling that I'm working on. And two, we're gonna plant some seeds to get my veggie garden started. Last year, I grew cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers. I tried to grow blueberries and that didn't work. I also tried to grow strawberries and I'm pretty sure that it was just dirt. Nothing sprouted. Blueberries sprouted, but I didn't get any fruit. I've read that if you don't have a real garden where you can't be pollinating with other with like-minded plants, it's hard to get fruit. I did get some tomatoes last year. They were green and not great, but I have a whole new lease on life after reading a bunch of stuff. So this year I'm gonna try a bunch of new things and we'll keep our fingers crossed. First, let's check in on some of the food scraps that I've been growing. Sounds really gross, but I'm really excited about this. Number one, this sweet potato. So I feel like I was duped by the internet. I saw this TikTok video that said that you could grow the most amazing vines from a sweet potato.
Here's an easy way to get that Jumanji vibe in your house. Take a sweet potato, just like this, put it in a glass of water, and in a few weeks, you'll have vines wrapping around your bookshelf. And I've got these beauties. Took about 2 months to cover this whole light fixture. It's really easy, try it.
This has been in water for like a month and a half now. If you take a look, you can see some of the roots that are starting to grow here, but I don't think I did it completely right. Basically what I did is I put these two sticks into the sides of the sweet potato and I stuck it in the window. I've heard people say it's better to just sprout it with air so you don't actually put it in water. I've heard people say that put it in water and put it in the dark. So I'm trying something new. Since this one is not as exciting as I was hoping it would be, I'm trying a second one, which yesterday Molly went to go do the dishes in the kitchen and she just yelled, "Potato!" And I was like, oh, she found the potato. I sort of had it hidden in the kitchen. I have this theory, this is not proven, but it's a very strong hypothesis that plants propagate faster when they're in opaque containers where you can't see through them versus with glass. So with the glass, we haven't had a lot of roots. And then I'm hoping, this has just started yesterday, so we don't have any roots yet, but I'm hoping that if we do try it in the dark and we do try it in something opaque, that maybe, just maybe, we will have a little bit more luck. The second plant experiment that I'm working on right now is romaine lettuce. I saw one of my friends on Instagram, Farmer Nick, try this really cool way of just literally cut the end off of romaine and plant it straight into his garden. I tried this with water before, but now I'm trying it both ways to see which is faster. Actually, the water is growing faster, but we have growth in both. So if you take a look, I just literally cut it like that, and I put it in water here, and you'll see, look at, I have like all this new growth here. And then on this one, I just stuck it straight in soil with no rooting it, nothing, just soil, and I watered it. It's still definitely growing. Like those are all new babies, but it looks like this experiment is working a little bit faster. So we're just gonna keep an eye on and see which of these are gonna grow faster. I feel like we have better longevity with the soil, but this seems to be growing faster. We'll see which one wins the race. We'll check back in a couple of weeks. If you have any other ideas of things that I should try, drop them in the comments and let me know. I've heard that garlic is a good one and chives are really good, but I'm open to anything. I tried carrots, but it didn't really work out, which leads me to part 2 of our veggie chat today. This is the fun part. So we're about to get started with our mini veggie garden. What I learned last year is that you can actually just take an egg carton and use this to grow the seedlings in. So we're gonna plant a seed in each one of these little babies and then leave them under a grow light for a couple of weeks till they get bigger and better, and then we can plant them in their own pots. I went a little crazy at Whole Foods and I picked out a bunch of these veggie packets. So we have carrots, because I messed up the carrot food scrap one that I was trying to work on, and I just really like carrots. So I thought I would try it. I have 2 types of carrots. This big one and then this like weird little nugget one. Then I have the beans. So last year I did cucumbers and that was such a crazy looking plant. The leaves were huge and they had these little vining tendrils that were literally like creeping around the apartment, finding their way around pieces of furniture and like grabbing on with their little sticky fingers. Again, Molly's nightmare, all of this, complete nightmare. I thought it was really cool. So instead of cucumbers this year, I want to try beans because I've heard that beans do something similar and I thought that would be a really interesting project to do. Next is kale. I don't know why I picked this. I don't know how this is gonna go. So we're gonna be doing this together, figure it out. And then lastly, again, not sure why I chose this, but we're gonna try cantaloupe because I just thought this would look really cool. This sort of gourd squash family, including melons and cantaloupes, really fascinates me. So I thought, why don't we try it, see how it goes? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Last but not least, I have a very special delivery. So my best friend's mom, who I call her my aunt, she's not technically my aunt, but for the sake of today's purposes, my aunt sent me tomato seeds from her garden. You can see it says cherry tomatoes here, and then we've got medium tomatoes. So shout out to Kathy, Aunt Kathy, because she literally picked them, plucked them, put them in these little bags, and I have a special container for them. So I'm gonna do these special tomatoes and see how they go because they're direct from the garden. She squeezed them out onto a napkin, let them dry, put them in baggies, and sent them to me. Everything starts with a plant tart. So first things first, I made deviled eggs, which if you follow me on Instagram was quite a hot topic because I did it wrong the first time and then I did it wrong the second time. And everyone had a lot of opinions. So just, you know, maybe next time I'll just try it a different way. So let's cut this top off. This is sort of like a sustainable Earth Day episode because I'm trying to repurpose more things and cause less food waste. We've got one large one where I think what I'm gonna put in here are carrots, our kale, and our beans. And then this is our small special Aunt Kathy tomato tray. And then I actually bought these little seedling cups last year when I was overwhelmed with all of the tomato seedlings. Pro tip, do not throw the entire packet in here because I did that and then I had hundreds of seedlings and I didn't know what to do with them all. I actually gave a ton of them away to my friends Dan and Melissa. So I bought these little compostable, biodegradable cups, and that's what we're gonna do our melons in. Let's start with our cherry tomatoes because those are the ones I'm the most excited about. This part is just super easy. You just put little pinches of soil to make tiny little cups. I like to do it maybe like 2/3 of the way full. And I'm just using regular potting soil for this. I've read that seedlings could do better in a sort of finer seedling specific soil, but I actually had really good luck with this soil last year. So I'm just gonna do what worked for me before. So now I have this little guy, and we're gonna do cherry tomatoes to start. So all I'm gonna do is put 2 little seeds in here and cover it up with soil. I'm gonna do 2 more here, pat those down, and we're just gonna fill up all the cups with a couple of seeds in each. You don't wanna go too many because you don't want them to be completely overflowing, but I'm nervous just in case one of them doesn't take, so we just would rather have more than less. Now we're done with our tomatoes, and we're gonna move on to our other veggies. And what I did that worked for me last year was keeping this under a grow light. And once we're done with all of these, we're gonna spritz them and get them really wet. And then I usually would probably spritz them every other day. They need to be more on the damp side when they're just first starting to grow. And then once you plant them in the garden, you can water a little bit less. But I did find that the veggies do tend to need more water more quickly than other houseplants. I don't know if it was just the sun that they were getting, or that's just kind of the nature of how fast growing they are. But I err on the side of overwatering when it comes to my vegetable garden. And now that we're getting into this larger tray, I'm actually gonna just label them, so then when they start to grow, I'll know which type of plant they are. All right, kale is next up. Kale's gonna get the least because I kind of don't care about the kale as much. There's no way that you should be using a whole packet of this for this small of a tray. Pretty sure this is meant for like an entire vegetable garden, which unfortunately we do not yet have, but someday we will. I'm gonna do another little layer of soil just to make sure that everyone is good and covered and happy in their little nests. We're done with everything except for our melons. I don't know if this one's gonna work. This one again is another experiment. We're gonna see how this one is. This says days to emerge, 5 to 10 days. That feels like a timeline I can get behind. Now that everyone has been planted, we're gonna get these babies wet. If there are any other veggies that you are obsessed with that you think I should give a try in my veggie garden, drop them in the comments below, because I really want to make this year a good veggie garden. Last year was honestly beyond my wildest dreams. I called it the orchard upstairs, and I kind of think that we're going to turn this into an orchard, and I'm really excited about it. So we'll check back in on these in a couple of weeks. Fingers crossed. Okay, now I can't even read what that says. I should have used a Sharpie.